and welcome to the Australian Gamer Show. I'm Matt.
And I'm Yug.
Tonight, nothing to talk about, so we're just going to blither for a while.
It's
maybe
unfortunate.
debate.
Yeah, we've looked around for news for last week, but there's nothing out there. It's really difficult.
Very quiet time, kind of a summer lull for the US.
There is that gaming expo though. That
yeah,
thing.
but it's kind of more of a niche thing, like a Comic-Con or something.
I'm sure it's something that we could actually talk about.
Well,
I mean, we've got nothing else.
We'll scrape some news out of it.
I will see what we can do.
E3.
E3.
You like the drama, don't you?
You know what? Any excuse to actually make that kind of booming announcer kind of voice. E3.
That's terrifying.
Michael Bay presents E3. That's a bit more zombie horror-ish though, isn't it? Not really booming blockbuster.
Michael Bay presents E3 and Megan Fox isn't invited.
There we go. E3, the Electronic Entertainment Expo. Yes, which accounts for all three E's.
Yes, that's the E's.
Is happening right now over in Los Angeles.
Yes, now, I thought it was Las Vegas for some reason. I don't know why.
You got 50% right.
Yeah, I got the loss. Is it? Yeah, are they both loss or is one of them lass?
You know what? In the interest of actually, because we were worried about sounding stupid, what does loss mean?
Lost, doesn't it?
No, I don't know.
Los Angeles, Las Vegas. What's the loss? Is it lost? City. That makes sense in retrospect.
Yeah, okay, lost.
City of Angels, City of Vegas.
Lost Angels.
Vegas. What's a Vega?
Anyway, E3 Expo is happening right now, and there's been a lot of news.
No, you cannot say E3 Expo. I stopped doing that before. Because that's Electronic Entertainment Expo, and I'm not okay with it.
The event
okay.
is happening over in Los Angeles right now, and there's been obviously a lot of press conferences and new videos and announcements and games and whoop, 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 whoop.
Yeah, it's a big event. They like the spectacle of E3. E3 got pared down. I think it was not last year, but the year before, and it became this very sedate affair.
Yeah, which
and press only.
No one had any fun at. I mean, from what I hear, all the press that actually go to E3, there's two reasons. One, to get excited and new games and find out and get your hands on with all the crazy cool stuff. And the other one is to get horribly, horribly drunk.
I was going to say booth babes.
Well, yep, that's 3 reasons to go to E3. I don't know.
That was a real stretch.
I was a bit.
You can start singing 3 as the magic number now.
No, I'm not going to do that.
God, I hate that song.
Yeah, me too. But what we have done is we've watched the press releases. We provide the best coverage of other people's coverage.
We do. We basically find better websites and just use their content.
Yeah. But I mean, there are many other people are doing what we're doing.
Not the way we do it. Not with the level of professionalism and expertise. The sort of critical analysis that you can only get from a quality site like Australian Gamer.
Exactly. It's these nuances that set us apart from the crowd.
They do certainly set us apart. Yes. We are certainly not.
So we're going to talk about the stuff that we've actually seen, and hopefully you guys have seen as well. Obviously, the big press conferences by Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, EA, and Ubisoft also. Yeah,
I wonder how big as a publisher you have to be before you get slotted in with the big kids.
Well, I don't think it's about being slotted in. I think it's about you requesting that you can do a press.
But why don't THQ? Why don't? Do you know what I mean? Like, why don't 2K? Like, how big do you have to be before you say, you know what? Fuck you.
I don't think it's how big you have to be. I think it's how much you can justify the games that you've got coming out. The
money must be pretty significant.
Rockstar Games, for example, doesn't really need to do a big press conference because they've kind of got only 1 or 2 games at a given time that they're actually promoting or pushing, whereas Ubisoft or EA have a bazillion, mazillion.
That's true. They kind of need a lot of time and a lot of space to talk about them, but I would think that any company... I suppose if you've only got 1 or 2 games and you get like half an hour slot, what do you do? Sit there playing for 10 minutes?
Yeah, if it's a good game. Anyway, look, we've watched the press releases, and I think my impression of E3 overall so far has been, I was going to say underwhelming, but I take that back now. I take back the underwhelming quote. I think it's just been a distinct lack of surprise all around, which is kind of surprising in itself because E3 is supposed to be about big events and reveals and exciting stuff. And it's not that there's not cool stuff. It's just like, oh yeah, I expected that.
Yeah, the E3 has... the companies have basically been leaking like the Gulf of Mexico lately. So they're basically just not being able to keep a lid on any of their ideas lately. So pretty much every major reveal that could have happened already happened.
Well, yeah, go on.
One of the few hardware reveals, for example, was the Xbox Slim, Slim and Light, or whatever they're calling it.
It's black and curvy, and not
less
curvy.
curvy.
It's less curvy. It's sleek.
Angular.
This is true.
And small.
Yes.
And it's got Wi-Fi built in.
They should call it the
nice.
Xbox 360 One.
Ah.
Yeah.
Which is like a tiny bit to the left.
Exactly.
I always thought that 360 was a funny name because it's just spinning around and going the same.
Yeah, take your gaming right back to where it was in the first place.
I actually had a girlfriend once who said that someone had turned around 360 degrees and like changed their life, turned their life around 360 degrees. And I'm like, wait, that's going the same direction. And they're like, no, they're way better now. I'm like, yeah, no, I kind of get what you're going for, but...
They should have said 361.
Yeah, that's just a little slightly different to where they were going.
One of the other things, though, it's not just about the lack of surprises, but it's about the fact that a lot of the big game reveals are existing properties or sequels that you just totally expected. Or, I mean, Nintendo's press conference, which in my opinion, it was probably the most exciting of them all. It just was...
Really?
Well, for me it was. Yeah, maybe just because it plays on that whole nostalgia thing. And I buy into that hook, line, and sinker.
You really do.
So the fact that they come out with like new Donkey Kong Country Returns and, you know, reusing the old properties like Kid Icarus and GoldenEye, for fuck's sake. I mean, to me, it's like, it's not surprising. It's just, oh, yeah, no, I know those games. These are familiar properties. It's still very cool, but it's just so not surprising.
Can I ask a question that I was thinking? I was thinking of this today, and I'd like to phrase it to you now. Who gives a shit?
About what?
These old games. Like, great, GoldenEye was good. But GoldenEye was good, 12 years ago?
Whoa. Yes, but it's still good today-ish?
No, it's fucking not.
Okay, what's wrong with it?
If you take a game that's 12 years old and you play it now, it's still shit.
Well,
it's shit by today's standards.
You can't say
if
it was
you're going
still
to
shit.
revamp an existing game that is so far removed from... You can't possibly tell me the new GoldenEye is going to be exactly the same in gameplay terms as the original one. Too much water has gone under that bridge. It's going to be a completely fucking different game.
See, this is coming from someone that didn't like the original GoldenEye, though. Is that what you're saying?
No, this is from someone who doesn't give a flying fuck about the original GoldenEye.
Wow, listen to this harshness.
So I want to see games that are new. I want to see what they can do. Like, if you're going to make a game, make a new fucking game. Don't just keep making the same game again. And that's what Nintendo have always done.
And we've bought it and played it and loved it and all this kind of stuff.
You've bought it and played it and loved it. And I haven't.
Fuck off. I make no apologies for this because all I want out of my gaming experiences is things that are fun.
The same thing over and over again.
It's good. What do you expect when people give you sequels? Just because it's a remake of the same license, that's no different than someone making a sequel to a game that was good in the first place. Gears of War 3 is coming out or whatever. Do you expect it to be that far removed from Gears of War 2 or Gears of War 1?
No. And if those had been made 12 fucking years ago, that would be a relevant point.
A lot of the games that were made 12 years ago, you look at Donkey Kong Country Returns that they announced, and it's side-scrolling Donkey Kong Country. That game was good back then, and the properties of a platformer are still good today.
Yes. The
so what's the problem
of a
with
first-person shooter are not.
They're updating the graphics to it, and a lot of the properties that happened in the original GoldenEye still hold true today in terms of what makes it a good game. Yes, every game is improved by having Pierce Brosnan in it.
Well, every game that has Pierce Brosnan in it is improved by having not Daniel Craig in it.
Really?
Well, I just don't think you can retcon out the fucking Bond. I don't think that's cool.
Look, all I'm saying is, I looked at that Nintendo conference, I watched it, and it's like, well, there's nothing that's really
new and different, but I'm going to buy the same shit over and over anyway.
As long as it's entertaining. It's new. I haven't played Donkey Kong Country in however many years, so the fact that I get the chance to actually... It's like, I liked when I heard there were rumors about they might remake Final Fantasy VII, as an example.
Yeah.
I loved the original Final Fantasy VII, but I also can't recommend that game, or I can't replay it today because it's so far removed graphic-wise and all this kind of stuff that I don't think I'd get all the way through it. I don't think that nostalgia factor would actually take me all the way through it. But if they used the same game and updated the graphics to today's standards, man, I'd be on that in a heartbeat, and I could recommend it to everyone. GoldenEye, in this form that's about to appear in, is the same concept to me.
I just think that when you take a game like GoldenEye that's as old as it is, if you were to divorce it from your 12-year-old memories and look at it as a new game,
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be very good.
Wow, you know what you get? You get GoldenEye 2. Remember that Perla? No,
How
you
was that?
don't.
What?
There was a GoldenEye 2.
I don't give a shit.
But it was shit.
So? How is that in any way related to what I said? My point is that when you take this game, and you take off the glasses of the fucking rose-colored glasses that you're wearing of your childhood memories of this beloved classic, and you look at it as a game,
Yes.
I don't think it looks like it's going to be a very good one.
Ah.
And I think if they're going to make something, could you just make something new for Christ's sake?
What I'm trying to say is they did do GoldenEye 2. That was used that property, but they updated it and they added a whole bunch of new features and all this kind of stuff. And it lost a lot of what was in the original that made it pure and actually fun on a multiplayer side of things.
No, you're right. Instead of making sequels, they should just focus on making the same game over and over. Instead of, upgrading it and updating it and adding to the story, they should just keep telling the same story.
Hey, there's nothing. Look, there's room for both. Don't be.
Not
all...
in Nintendo. There's not. There's room for the same game over and over. Oh, look, there's a new Zelda game coming out. Let's talk about that for a while, so we can have the same fucking conversation.
Yeah, but okay, I can't defend myself against that one.
Yeah, well,
I guess. Look, I understand where you're coming from, and as much as I wouldn't consider myself a huge Nintendo fanboy. I do have.
Why? Because you fucking defined fanboy to not include you. You just said I'll buy everything they do because I love them so.
Buy everything
and now
they
you're
do,
like, but not like a fanboy.
Shut up.
I don't want to rag on Nintendo, even though they're whatever. I was going to say a bunch of dirty and then a bad word, but
right.
I'm not going to. The 3DS. I want to talk about the 3DS because I actually think that looks pretty cool.
There we go.
And I don't have an issue with Nintendo per se, and that hardware looks like they're really innovating. Now, what they do with the software on that, I mean, sure, they're bringing out Kid Icarus, which is not exactly one that to me is a big beloved former franchise, and more to the point, isn't one that's been run into the motherfucking ground for the last 12 years.
Okay, valid. Yeah.
So I'm kind of okay with that, and I think that the hardware, and if it gets good software, that could be a really solid, cool new thing.
If there's one thing that we've seen so far at E3, it is the presentation and actual physical gaming examples of a lot of the new peripherals that are being brought out for the current generation systems.
Yeah.
Like obviously your Move on the PlayStation and your Kinects, which is the updated name for Natal.
Yes.
Because wow, that's an improvement. Anything is an improvement over Natal, I guess. But I don't expect the software examples that they actually show at these expos to be fantastic and over the top. Actually, that was one of the things that kind of pissed me off. I read a lot of the coverage and people that were at the Microsoft press event actually going, "Wow, they're showing the Kinects. Oh, look at this. They're showing it. It's what games have they got? They got a dance game. They got an aerobics game, and people were really sticking their nose up to these concepts. But that frustrates me quite a bit because this is a really awesome bit of technology with huge potential, and of course they're going to try and throw and market it to a much more casual audience initially. But I don't like people being really dismissive of that technology. I'm actually really excited about it.
I'm very interested to see what they do with it. Tyler and I were talking about it earlier, and I think that to me the Sony Move is the more accessible, so the more interesting, because I still can't get my head around the fact that the controller works without you touching anything. And to me, a controller that you hold and move and do stuff with is always going to work a bit better than one that uses magic and fairies and pixie dust to detect where you are.
Okay, but here's the other thing. People need to stop looking at Kinects as the next step in controllers in the same way that, like, with the Wii, it was like they dropped the actual controller and they made this motion-sensitive controller and everything like that. Kinects, you're not going to be able to play, or as far as I can imagine, Gears of War 3 using just Kinects. But consider it like this, especially because I used to do UI design and stuff like that for games and things like that. I see the Kinects as having the potential to completely revolutionize menus and systems like that, to the point that when you actually play a game that utilizes that on the Xbox, and then you go to like something on the PlayStation or the Wii and you play a game, it's like, oh Jesus, I wish I'm so used to actually just flicking menus around or moving things with my hands. This is really archaic doing it with a controller.
I like the fact that you've taken the Sony Move, which has been announced this year,
Yes.
and demoed more thoroughly and priced and all that to come out soon. You've decided already it's archaic.
No, I didn't say that the Move is archaic. I'm saying your traditional controllers are archaic.
Yeah, but these aren't traditional controllers.
No, so I wasn't referring to the Move. I was just referring
I
to
see. You were referring to actually using a controller.
Yeah.
I see where you're going with that, and I actually think that interface is going to be really interesting on the Natal.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, on the Kinects. We'll have to get used to it.
I'm still not used to that.
And
it's like going from the Revolution to the Wii.
The Wii, yeah.
And it was like, I just don't want to even do that, but I have to, so yeah.
It was the same with the Dolphin.
Oh, God, yeah. Wow, we're getting back.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The Xbox interface, while using the
Kinects,
gestures and
yes.
the Kinects and all that kind of stuff, could be really fun Minority Report kind of shit.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
I'm pretty keen on that. But I still think, if you think about E3 and you think about Microsoft's presentation at E3 and what they showed and what they did,
Yep.
and now take out Kinects, now what do they have?
They have their typical Microsoft massive properties like Gears of War 3, Halo Reach, Fable 3, and exclusive stuff like the Black Ops as well.
Yeah.
Which is cool. It shows that Microsoft is still paying people a shit ton of money for exclusivity.
I just don't think they really... And in fairness, I should extend the same courtesy to Sony, who, if you take out Move, didn't have as much to show either. And I worry a little bit about that, and it's probable that that's just what they're focusing on, rather than that's all they've got.
I worry a little bit that we're being a little bit too harsh on this, and we're being critical for the sake of being critical. Because I remember times when, back at previous E3s, it's like, oh yeah, there's not that many exciting games on show because it's all about the new hardware or the new exciting things. And now we're actually well into the development cycle of these current generation consoles, and now we're like, well, we're just not excited anymore. There's a lot of new really cool games that we're looking at, but it's just... there is a lot of fucking cool games. There's a lot of really cool trailers floating out there and a lot of announcements of games that are actually coming out. And we've seen a lot of really cool stuff. Everything from like your Halos and your Gears of War to your fucking Portal 2s and your Marios and Zeldas. And there's a lot of cool games. Bring it back to the games and it's exciting. But in terms of the PlayStation Move and their press releases and their press conferences and Microsoft's press conferences, I mean, what do you expect?
I don't
know either.
That was a really long rant. I have no idea what your actual point is.
You know the problem when I start doing a rant like that is at the beginning I've got a concise reason for I know what I'm saying. I know what I'm doing. Halfway through, I forget what I started saying in the first place, and I realize that I have to end this somehow. So, yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. In conclusion, I think that when the government votes, they should... Yeah, I don't know. I really think that both the Move and the Kinects have a lot of potential and a lot to offer. I'll be really interested, and my concern, particularly of the Kinects, is how that potential is realized and whether they just end up... Because if you look at the first raft of games coming for the Kinects and you look at the stuff that's on the Wii... You can see a lot of the same shovelware being shoveled onto a new platform.
Yeah, careful saying shovelware though, because Wii Sports is like still one of the.
I don't fucking care. It's been done, and if the hardware is opening up brave new worlds and new frontiers and awesome new possibilities, that's not what we're seeing. What we're seeing is the Wii with better graphics, and that would be unfortunate if that's all it has to offer. And I think it won't. Down the track. But
I actually think there's an opportunity here. This is a slow unveiling of an emergent technology. Wow, that was a lot of big words for me.
Yeah. Do you want to lie down or maybe a drink?
I'm feeling a bit lightheaded. The other thing is, this is the one question that hasn't been answered for me in any respect. I want to know, can you use Kinect while using an Xbox controller? That's the thing that actually interests me more than anything else. In the same way that with the Wiimote...
So you maybe move your head and...
Okay, but consider this. Like with the Wiimote, right? You can't play fucking Mario or Zelda or Metroid or these hardcore gamers games. Well, not hardcore, but you know what I mean. Gamers games without the fucking joystick because you need that that particular controller in order to do it. Great, you've got all this motion sensor technology and all this kind of stuff, but you need the fundamental controls to be able to move the character around and do your typical stuff. In the same way, I look at Kinects and I think, well, I wonder if there's the opportunity there to actually play it with a typical controller and everything like that, but have that advanced functionality there. So if you're playing with a controller, you look at the screen, you're moving around or whatever, say Gears of War 2, and then, I don't know, then
throw a grenade
or a menu pops up. Well, I think there's a lot of opportunities like that to extend the control options and make it easier to actually control stuff, especially with UI design.
I think it'll be really interesting to see what happens in the future and what games come out of it, aside from ones that are essentially glorified tech demos.
Yeah.
I think once we start seeing like Star Wars games that, you can use a lightsaber and...
Yeah. Be careful how far you go with that, though, because that is the biggest problem with all this motion-sensitive controlled stuff, is the lack of reaction. That was the problem that Nintendo always had with the Wiimote. Like, everyone's saying, straight away, it's like, you could make it like a lightsaber. No, you can't, because if you use a lightsaber and you swing it, and in the game you hit something, your hand physically does not stop moving when it connects with that object, and you keep going.
Have you seen a lightsaber?
I've seen a lightsaber.
Have you seen a lightsaber in a game?
Yes.
Sorry, in a movie?
Yes.
Have you seen what they do to stuff they hit?
Not if it's another lightsaber.
Oh, good point. I like what you're doing. I do see what you're going with that, and I do appreciate that that's an issue, but I don't think it can necessarily be has to be a killer issue. I was thinking about this earlier in terms of, if your sword gets blocked, and your controller has gone through, where does the sword reset to?
Yes.
But surely that can be animated to go down.
And as soon as that's animated to go down, then that actually no longer correlates to your actual movements.
No, but it could pick back up your movements.
Where do you... look, I don't know. I just don't think any of these motion sensor technologies, I think no one should assume they're going to replace the current control systems and mechanisms and stuff like that. I think they're there to enhance, and for your more simplistic games and obviously casual market and things like that, I think they're there to
just a casual market necessarily. You can also look at things like the Move playing Time Crisis.
Yeah.
Hardly a casual game.
Absolutely. And you know what? For all you can bag out the Kinects or whatever, it's they got a dance game coming out. Fuck off, man. Australian Gamer was actually founded on the fact that we didn't get Dance Dance Revolution.
So,
in Australia.
Just Dance. That still looks lame.
I'd play it.
Can I say I want to talk about two people. One, Reggie. Reggie's angry, man. He's an angry man. Has he always been that angry?
I don't know. I just don't. He's always had this "don't fuck with me" kind of attitude.
Yeah, he just seems kind of pissed off.
I always remember when they actually brought on Reggie as like the spokesperson for Nintendo. It was just such this, Nintendo happy, fun, and crazy, and all this kind of stuff. And their representative is fucking Bruce Campbell sort of thing.
He's a bouncer. I'm pretty sure he's a bouncer when he's not working at Nintendo.
He's a chin and a forehead. Bar. That's what he is.
Yeah.
That's all he is.
I also wanted to point out, I know you didn't see the Sony speech in its entirety, but did you see when Kevin Butler came on?
No.
I'm not sure who Kevin Butler is.
Okay.
Quite frankly.
Right.
He got a good cheer when he came on, and apparently everyone knows him. I think he's like the something.
That is his name, though. He's not just a butler.
No. He's not a butler called Kevin, and he's not...
You sure it's not Gerald Butler?
No, I was going to say he's also not Gerald Butler, though that would have been cool.
Yes, it would have.
Yelling, "This is PlayStation" or something.
Yeah, okay.
I can't be bothered. But no, he came on and he gave kind of an impassioned speech. Well, mostly he was taking digs at everyone who wasn't Sony.
Right.
But he gave kind of an impassioned and quite entertaining speech, basically about how nothing matters but the games, and games are awesome. And I'm vastly simplifying. Obviously, it was kind of a 5 to 10 minute speech, but
sure.
well worth a watch and quite entertaining.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll see more of him in future.
That's it. That's all you got there.
Yeah, I just
wanted to make note of those two particular people. Reggie just for being Reggie, and this Butler guy for saying nice things about Sony.
No, for saying nice things about gaming. He was actually quite platform agnostic with the way he said it, which was what made it interesting. He said, sure, we stick to one camp or another, but in the end, all that matters is that we get awesome games. And I think he said, long live gaming and long may he reign or something.
Okay.
It just the way he spoke was he was a quite good speaker, and I respect that.
Well, look, let's move on to that just ever so slightly then. In the last couple of minutes that we go to the podcast, games in terms of actual games, game footage, or even stuff from the press release or stuff like that. Is there anything that you saw that made you hard or moist, depending on your gender?
You should know by now.
I don't know.
Definitely
It's
moist.
always questionable.
Probably the best trailer that I saw was CG, unfortunately, and I know that's kind of a cop out, but
Huge cop out. Massive. Sorry.
Oh my god, I've forgotten what it is. The Old Republic.
Wow.
The Old Republic. The new trailer
right.
for the Old Republic.
Yeah.
New trailer for anyway. It looks very cool. The two trailers they've done for it have been just absolutely spectacular and obviously sort of cutting edge CG. And,
Yep.
I thought that was pretty cool. I was quite fascinated by the trailer and the technology for Metal Gear Rising. I don't know if you saw that.
Metal Gear Rising. Is it Xbox exclusive or just Xbox exclusive for a bit?
No, I didn't think it was Xbox exclusive at all. I thought the big deal was, in fact, just the fact that it was going to be on the Xbox as well. But I'll look more into that because...
Well, they had like Kojima actually up there on stage,
showing
the game.
He's always been hardcore Sony.
Yeah,
and quite outspokenly so.
But I mean, Metal Gear Solid 2 was on both platforms. Eventually, Substance.
But Metal Gear Solid 4, they made a big deal of the fact that it was never coming.
Yeah.
They even mocked the Xbox in the game.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a bit where it said something along the lines of, basically a screen comes up saying, change discs. Then it went, oh, you're on the PlayStation 3. Never mind.
Okay.
So they made it clear that it couldn't fit.
Right.
On a normal disc.
But they've gotten around that problem, so...
Well, they've obviously done this as a different game, and they've, got less cinematics or whatever.
There's also seems to be a distinct lack of Solid Snake.
Yeah, it's all Raiden-based.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about it, did you actually see the trailer?
Yeah, I did.
The one with all the cutting?
The cutting, yes. The Fruit Ninja right at the end.
Yeah, a bit of Fruit Ninja at the end. It's a very weird to have the ability to mangle people so thoroughly.
Yeah.
I don't know that we need to do that. Like, it's kind of cool that he dashes around and people get cut.
You know what? I gotta make a confession. I talk about Metal Gear Solid the same way as all gaming critics tend to talk about Metal Gear Solid, but I've...
Authoritatively and with certainty.
Authoritatively.
Fuck. What?
But I've only ever played Metal Gear Solid 2, and even then I kind of just got bored. And everyone out there is like, oh, they looked at the trailer, it's like, oh yeah, Metal Gear Solid, but it's Raiden. And now I've been doing the same thing.
Yeah.
There have been people, we were showing these videos up at the bar tonight, and people were looking at it. It's like, oh, it's Metal Gear Solid. And I was like, yeah, I know, but the main character's Raiden. And then I realized, I don't actually know what the fuck I mean. Is it just because he looks like a boy band member outcast? Or is there some other reason why there's so much hatred to this character?
Grab a couple of videos of... you should be able to just find them on YouTube from Metal Gear Solid 4 and see some of the cutscenes with Raiden, and you'll see that he is one ass-kicking mofo.
Right.
And
so that's awesome, right?
Yeah, you would think that's awesome. The character design, however, is, let's just say it is catering more to a Japanese market.
He does look like he's out of a Final Fantasy game.
There is a particular system in Japanese games and movies as well where they actually target specific demographics with certain character types.
Sure.
And there are these basically preset character archetypes that they slot in place. And Raiden's job is to appeal to young women.
Right.
That's his slot.
So you're looking forward to it then?
No.
I
follow the... I must admit, Raiden was actually kind of cool, but I think I missed an awful lot of Raiden's backstory. Because I only played Metal Gear Solid and Metal Gear Solid 4, and it's like, whoa, Raiden. Okay.
Right.
He's got swords on his feet. Cool.
Okay, fair enough.
But he's pretty cool. He's a bit maligned because we kind of don't really get that girly man thing here.
Yeah.
In the West. But in Japan, they're like, he is... Juken. No, I just made that up. I don't know what that means, but I probably just said something about someone's mother and an octopus. But
fair enough. Okay, so Metal Gear Solid is the thing that's doing it for you.
No, Metal Gear Rising does look pretty cool.
There's
been a few other things. I'm mostly interested in seeing. I think it's actually going to take a couple of days before we start seeing
Sure.
trailers that are really good surface from the kind of melange of videos that have been spewed up on the net the last couple of days.
Well, look, I mean, surprisingly, from my point of view, especially considering the disappointment of Nintendo's E3 presentation last year. Do you remember that? By any chance? Where they didn't really do much of anything. It was all
they
about...
basically just said, we win.
No. It was all Wii Sports Resort.
That's right, I remember now.
Wii Motion Plus, and then there were like mystery books on the DS. And,
that's right.
And there was a thing that
games.
Connected to your finger that detected your heartbeat rate. Or what the fuck happened to that?
I don't know.
Good. So, as opposed to this year, where the Nintendo one to me was actually the most exciting, just because of all the properties. And yes, maybe because I'm ever so slightly fanboyish towards these games, which I've been playing over and over for the last 20 years and still enjoying them. So things like Donkey Kong Country, I was like, yeah. Seeing Kid Icarus, fuck yeah. Metroid Prime M, I'm still fucking excited about that.
Look, I have to say, critical though I am of the way Nintendo release games and basically milk the living shit out of them. Metroid looks amazing, and Donkey Kong Country looks really, really cool.
Yeah,
like it's very, very
fun.
well designed. It's got amazing graphics. Donkey Kong always had graphics that were ahead of its generation.
Yeah, they did. But the gameplay itself was still really solid, especially the original Donkey Kong Country. So, look, for me, I don't know, we're going to do that whole
let's do
who won.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't seen all of the Sony one. To be honest, I kind of just got drunk. Actually, at the time.
No, we've seen that from the fact that there was a drinking issue.
Yes, the drinking issue. That's right. So I kind of missed a little bit of theirs. I'll go back over it. But, the Nintendo one took it home for me. Just because there were almost zero surprises and zero stuff out of the Microsoft one that made me go, wow, that's awesome. Whereas at Nintendo, it was like, yeah, fuck yeah, this. It was like, great. And the Nintendo 3DS, I don't know, maybe it's just because it's been announced, there's a whole bunch of stuff about it, and yet I still have no idea what it actually looks like.
Yeah.
That interests me quite a bit.
I'm really fascinated by the 3DS, particularly, mostly because it kind of looks like a new step forward. It's not just a DS with better graphics, it's 3D, and that's pretty freaking cool.
It is.
But for me, what Nintendo mostly showed were a bunch of franchises I never particularly cared about.
Yeah.
And they're milking again, and to me that's not enough. I wanted to see more from them, and the 3DS still it was a really solid showing, but the Wii, nothing. I was actually almost hoping for like a Wii 2 announcement of some kind, like even just a slight upgrade to make the console support HD.
Yeah, I don't think they need to at this point anyway. But so in that case, which press conference most impressed you?
Well, I quite like the Sony one because to me the Move has the most potential to gaming.
Okay.
And I see that working really well. I still, like I said, I'm concerned about the utility of the Kinect.
Sure. Yep.
And how well it works, but I'm certainly willing to give it a go, and I could change my tune, especially when they start actually getting some games.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see, because the Move is actually being ported into a lot of the existing games. Oh, you know what? I totally failed to mention, and is utterly unaccountable. Unacceptable for me to do. Little Big Planet 2. Did you see the trailers for that?
No.
The promo for Sony featured that quite heavily, and holy fucking shit, does it look amazing.
Okay.
It's not a platformer anymore. It's all genres. They showed people playing like puzzle games. They showed they gave a bunch of game developers 24 hours and no instructions to see what they could come up with, and some of them had these really cool looking side-scrolling shooters, and there was cool punching games, like fighting games.
Random?
Yeah, and someone built a like commando kind of game where you ran around shooting. Someone built a fucking RTS.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, with like selectable units and...
I'm really interested to see what the tools are actually like in order to create these things, though. I know they're always quite... They always say that it's quite intuitive and, it's simple and but Jesus Christ, these are not simple things to do. There's got to be some sort of...
Yeah, you can't just press the make a game now button.
No.
Surely. And I don't know. But
So I'd be very interested to see the behind the scenes tools on a lot of these things. So we'll see.
I'll also be very interested to see, because they did show some of the actual games that are built in and stuff, levels that are built in, and very, very impressive. And I'll be really interested to see what multimedia Molecule can come up with, because what they did for Little Big Planet was amazing. So. Cool. I'm pretty keen on that. But all in all, with things like that, and with the move, and with a little Butler's speech, I think Sony, their attitude and I'll give them the win.
All right, fair enough.
Microsoft did fuck all for me. I didn't really find them particularly interesting.
As a final note, I would just like to say check out the Portal 2 trailer, just because I thought it was cool, and that's all I got on that.
The Portal 2 trailer was pretty cool. I also wanted to say that we are closing applications very soon for the Australian Gamer Writer position. If you haven't written to us, do so. Assuming you want to write. You don't just have to,
No, we
I'd also like to recommend to anyone who hasn't written in and who wants to apply, I get that you've played Mario since you were a kid. Every fucking applicant has played Mario since they were a kid. Stand out. And stand out as a writer, not as a gamer. Because everyone who applies, people seem to forget that everyone who applies is a gamer. We get that you're a gamer. That's cool. How are you as a writer, and how are you as a personality? That's what really matters, and that's what'll step you forward.
And to me, actually conveying your personality through your writing.
Yeah, exactly.
Well. It's great if you're crazy and nuts and a fantastic personality and stuff like that, but if your writing just sounds like you're boring 6 o'clock news sort of stuff, then that's not good enough.
Yeah.
There we go.
So I think that's it for E3. Next week's podcast should be pretty cool.
Yep.
We'll be able to kind of
Okay.
Well, no, I actually find that the week of E3, particularly the days of E3,
yes,
there is so much news and so little actual information. There's like, this is coming out, and you're like, cool, when, how much, where is it?
Once we have a little bit of time to digest everything,
we'll be able to sort through.
Watch the 6 hours worth of trailers and gameplay footage and stuff that's no doubt out there.
Yeah,
we'll see how we go.
We'll have more to show, and we'll have more to say and see and talk about, and
cool,
and some actual info on when stuff's coming to Australia.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yes.
Can I also just say I've been playing Super Mario Galaxy 2 and it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
All right, thank you everyone for tuning in.
All right, see you guys.